Hello there, Frankie Day back on YouTube. Okay, fellas, I got a treat for you guys. In between builds and drawing sessions of my models, I've been going back on doing again. I'm going to start bringing out my builds of the past. And I'm not too certain if I publicize this on YouTube or not, though, but I went down below, dug around, see if I can find any more surprises that I tucked away 50 years ago and turned into the case out of sight, out of mind, like my two Hasegawa kits that I found was lay dormant in boxes for years on end. Okay guys, this is I've done this build probably about, I'd say about 15 years ago, and it's by Trumpeter at 1/48 scale. It's their FW200 CONDOR. A little history of the aircraft, folks, before we show the finished product of the builds of the past. Now the FW200 model was actually designed as a long-range transport aircraft, and the German foreign minister requisitioned as a long-range maritime commerce raider. And before she requisitioned to the Luftwaffe, she actually flew for Lufthansa, and it was actually Adolf Hitler's private one of the machines was a prime example of Adolf Hitler's private transport that he adopted for himself and his war cabinet. And a lot of them were when Hitler became chancellor, and then he started to invade Poland back in 1939. The Lufthansa was ordered by the Air Ministry to be able to surrender the FW200 to the Luftwaffe as a long-range maritime commerce raider. And Luftwaffe was a very beautiful airplane for her day, a very large airplane for her day. And she had a few problems in the beginning of her flight history. They suffered the Fokker Condor suffered a few mechanical problems that arise during trial and error, because actually the FW200 was released in the Lufthansa as a commercial long-range transport. They were never designed to land on grass fields. It was always like a tarmac runway. And so the first problem they had with the Luftwaffe had with it was on grass runways, such as what England had. And the undercarriage seemed to suffer a lot of fatalities because of fatigue fractures and everything else and such, because of the hard ground of unlevelness of the dirt. And so what they did they beat up the undercarriage and redesigned the retracting system of the undercarriage and made wider Bushman type wider tires, because the tires are really wide on them. They look like big old huge like bush planes used in Alaska. They've done that to accommodate the initial shock of landing and takeoff on a bumpy grass field. And another problem they suffered is broken backs. And then the middle section where the dorsal turret is at, mostly the fuselage that would snap, is because the 76-foot long inch fuselage that the mighty Condor was designed couldn't handle the stress of it bouncing on the hard surface of a grassy airport. And so therefore it was actually redesigned and reinforced from the inside of the Lajeraz, all the way from the entry door tap to the tail empennage. And she was powered by 4 BMW Bramo engines, running a horse speed of 1,200 horsepower in each motor. Her total speed was 208 miles an hour, which is very relatively slow. And Sir Winston Churchill dubbed him as the scourge of the Atlantic. And believe you me, these Fokker Condors can go a long, long ways, because these aircraft were fitted with extra Merlin cells, which are external fuel tanks, which is internally inside the fuselage, eliminating a lot of the passenger seats that were actually designed on the aircraft itself. As for passengers to passage on the aircraft, were actually removed. And there's spaces with these big old huge Merlin cell gas tanks. That's what gave the Condor a long range. It had a range of 5,000 miles. That's a lot of ocean, because the North Atlantic is a swimming hole compared to the South Pacific. And so the Condor can really channel out and comb out the North Atlantic without a fuss, and still come back with enough fuel perhaps for another mission without refueling again. And also with the initial weight of fuel like that, it made it pretty cumbersome for the fuselage to break aft also. Okay guys, now we're going to take a look at the build of class, and we're going to discover the wonders of the Trumpeter 1/48 scale FW200 Condor, and we're going to take a look-see, folks. Hang on for a second, and we'll switch over to view the Condor. Okay, fellas, here she is. This is her complete entirety. I built this 15 years ago. It took me about a good month to build this. This is a very, very good kit, folks, and I think the kit ran $100. It's one of my first trumpeter kits in the aircraft range I've ever bought, and it was a very nice kit. The trumpeter, like I say, they really cut their homework out in these kits. These kits are almost state-of-the-art. That's how they design their kits. The kits are very, very well worth the money. But like I say, when you start paying prices of international kits like this, you're going to pay the price and then some. And the kit went together quite well. There's no fit issues at all. And there's a lot of internal parts in this aircraft that will not be seen, folks. But I know they're there because I built them in there with the kit. Now, as noted, you can tell by the big old huge balloon tires right here how big they are. On the original Lufthansa version, before it was requisitioned to Adolf Hitler's Luftwaffe, they were a lot more smaller. But the reason why these leather carriages is really large like that, so be able to handle the bumpy grass fields that these took off from. And this is a wonderful machine, guys, and we'll zoom a little bit. We'll take a little more picture of this here, and we'll take a little more detail shots of it. We'll spin it around a little bit. The detail of this thing is a very detailed kit, folks, and it's not very hard to build even for the novice. The instructions are quite thorough, and it's just common trumpeter instructions. And I think I got the instructions in the color call-out sheet. I think it's in one of my file cabinets somewhere. That's not important, folks. This is the final built product of it, and I highly recommend getting this aircraft right here. And we'll zoom a little closer here. And it's a very good kit. Solvent weathered, toned down with the elements of seawater. The Dunker green and also the Schwartz green and also the sky blue was more or less the color schedule for the Condor. And during the immersion of salt air and wear and tear, they fade out a lot. And the kit gives you swastikas, as you can see on the tail right there, folks. We'll back off a little bit here. I'm in a position right now, it's kind of hard to show the swastika. There it is right there, folks. And so anyway, right there, it's actually it's a decal. That decal comes in four pieces, folks, per decal. I don't understand why they can't make a decal in its entirety without putting it together in 4 sections in each swastika, but I'm grateful they put them in there, you know, because it gives the airplane spice and history. No German airplane doesn't look good without swastikas on there. And although I know the swastika is banned in Germany and probably other European nations as well, but us modelers, especially Alex and myself, we like swastikas. And got a special gondola right here. This right here is you got the gondola flap right here. It fits over here. The gun is pulled inside and triced inside the well itself. And these are like conolovers. They work like corrugated flaps. They come over and they fare in right there. And like I say, you get the big Merlin cells right in here. And right in this area here, the Merlin cells are all lined up. I think there's 6 of them here. They started from here all the way up here, port and starboard. Because this thing had a lot of detail. And what they did, they took it back to Fokker, and they fared in all the windows. They got rid of all the passenger windows on here, and what they did, they fared in as the solid structure itself. And part of the fertility of this breaking off over here in this area here is because all these windows right here. When that plane would land and bounce on top of the grassy field, and it caused a lot of stress fractures, and the plane would eventually break. Mostly they break just after the landing, or sometimes on takeoff they break. So what they did, took it back to Poker, had it redesigned, had all the windows completely gone, and they made up all the long-range fuel tanks. And these were actually used for maritime patrol bombers. And they really prided on the convoy, that's for damn sure. That's why Sir Winston Churchill dubbed her as the Scourge of the Atlantic. And I highly recommend getting this kit. If you folks got this in your stash, you'll find it a very pleasing model to build. And it's a very excellent model to build. And it's pretty well detailed, as you can see. It leaves a lot of room for details. For the love of life me, they gave me two 767 to 65 kilogram bombs. I don't know why they didn't give me 4 of them. Because over here you got your outside bomb toggles right here. It fits in that bomb pod right over here. I got to think to myself, well, I guess 2 for the shackles and 2 for the little bombs. But anyway, this completes the build of the past of the Trumpeter 148 scale FW200 CONDOR, the Scourge of the Atlantic. A beautiful airplane she is, and a dandy of an airplane she is. And we'll go right back to you, finish up the video, folks. Okay, fellas, there's the looks of the Trumpeter 148 scale CONDOR. It's a good kit, guys. It really goes together quite well. It's very joyous to build. And once you have no problem building it, even the novice and hardly had no problem building it. And I haven't seen any model shells for so long. And I'm quite certain they're still making them. It just depends on what kind of hobby shop stocks them all the time. The hobby shop we have around here in Ohio, they're not very good hobby shops. They don't seem to keep brand new stuff concurrent. They always have stuff they got laying around 10, 15 years ago. And my favorite hobby shop I go to all the time is Don's Hobby Shop, which is Smitty's. And they got a lot of vintage kits from the 50s and 60s laying around. I eat them up like bonbons and add them to the stash pile. Okay, fellas, right after this, I'm going to go ahead and start doing some pre-shading on my Hawker Hurricane and start following the paintwork on her. I should have a video of that probably, hopefully maybe by tomorrow on my Hawker Hurricane. I'm pretty well ahead of schedule on it. And so in between builds and writing sessions, I'll start bringing out some of my old collections right here and start sharing them. So a lot of you out there are pretty well pleased by looking at them, enjoy them. And I myself enjoy them too. So anybody got one of these things in their stash, keep them in there, build them, have fun with it, have a ball. It's a very wonderful kit. And there's a lot out there on this model right here you'll enjoy. And that'll be that. Okay, fellas, this is Frankie Day signing off. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and make God bless and happy modeling. Make Mama happy. And we'll catch you next video. So the next video will be the pre-shading and the of my Hawker Hurricane and following the paint schedule. And I'll sneak in another builds of the past, keep you guys amused and keep the videos flowing and keep myself going. Okay, guys, it's time for you to get out of here right now. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and again, make God bless, and we'll catch you guys next video. Bye, boys.